Hello and welcome back. In our last video, we saw how to install VirtualBox in order to run our virtual machines or VMs. But we said, hey, we don't actually have any virtual machines to open up or run. So in this video, we're going to see how we can go about getting a Kali Linux virtual machine. So if I come to Google and I just type Kali, we'll do Kali Linux, and I click enter. I can click my first link here, which brings me to the Kali website. There we go. And so I am going to go to downloads and click downloads. Sorry for the slow network. There we go. We're kicking back in, I think. Are we or are we not? Okay, and once I'm here, if you're interested in downloading Kali directly to your machine, maybe you want to wipe your OS and install Kali, you're going to want to follow some maybe tutorials here, and you're going to download like the 64-bit image or the 32-bit image. We don't want to do that. We want to install this in VirtualBox, so I'm going to come down here to where there's virtualization options, and we're going to click the link that brings us to the Offensive Security VM download page. So here we are on Offensive Security. We can download some virtual images. There's different types of virtualization software out there like VMware, Hyper-V. We're using VirtualBox, so I'm going to click VirtualBox. And then you got to get the right version, whether or not you're running a 32-bit or 64-bit operating system. If you're not sure, you can just type about in your search engine or your search bar down here. And if it pops up, you can see like right here under system type, I have a 64-bit operating system. So I'm going to grab this image. I'm going to click it to begin downloading it. And thankfully, my internet's being extremely slow right now, but thankfully, I already have it downloaded. So when you click this link, it will begin to download. I'm going to cancel the download by just closing out my browser. And so if we look at the downloads, my downloads folder, here it is right here, Kali Linux. It's an open virtualization format archive. And so in order to bring this into VirtualBox, we're going to import the machine. So we click the import button when we're on the Tools tab here in VirtualBox, and we have to choose the file to import from below. So we're going to click this little folder to open up our directory. I'm going to go to the Downloads folder, and there is my Kali Linux Open Virtualization Format Archive. So I'll click Open, and then I'll click Next. In here is a bunch of predefined settings for the image that we've downloaded. You could choose to change them now, or you can change some of them afterwards. I'm going to leave them just as is for simplicity, and I'm just going to click Import. And so now VirtualBox is going to go through and import this machine. This, I think, will take some time, so I'm going to try to pause our video right now, and I will see you when the machine is installed. Okay, so welcome back. Hopefully that paused fine. We can see that the installation process is complete, and I now have a virtual machine right here, Kali rolling. We could start this machine, but first let's look at the settings for this machine. So if I click Settings, we have some things that we can change, like here's the name. We could change that if we wanted to. Let's look at the System tab. We can give our virtual machine some memory. Anywhere in the green is normally good. You may think that like, hey, my virtual machine is running really slow, I'm going to pump it up and giving it all of my memory. That's maybe not good, because that means there's only a little bit of memory left for your host machine, which is sort of running your virtual machine. So your host machine is going to lag, which in turn is going to lag your virtual machine. So you got to find kind of the sweet spot right in here for the memory of your VM. Similar, we could change the number of processors that we have for the VM too. Under the display setting, one of the things that I'm going to click right here is I'm going to disable 3D acceleration, because I found that when I run my VM, oftentimes the screen will flicker, and so if you disable that, that should take care of that issue. And then if we look here under network, we want to make sure that we have enabled the network adapter, because that's going to give our virtual machine access to the internet, essentially. And there's a lot of different ways we can do this. When you have the NAT selection picked here, what that's going to do is it's going to give your virtual machine its own like private network, essentially, and its own private like IP range that is it's like isolated from the rest of your devices that are on your network. So even though you're connected to the internet, it might look like you're the only thing that's on your network, which can be good for us. And that's probably where we're going to start off. If you look here, another nice feature is the bridged adapter. What this is going to do is it's going to give your virtual machine its own IP address that's on your actual network. So your virtual machine is going to be able to talk to your computer, your router, your TV, anything that is connected to the network. So those are the two that we might work with primarily throughout the scope of this course and maybe some other courses. I'm going to keep this on NAT network for right now. One of the things I'm going to note that is that right now I'm not getting an issue for USBs. For any USB ports here, but you may see that you have like a little message here that says USB 2.0 and 3.0 is not working. If that's the case, you have to install some extra software. So if we come back to VirtualBox and I click on downloads, let's see. We have to get like an extension pack, I think is what they call it. And so the extension pack we can download. I'll show you where you find it. Once it's downloaded, yeah, okay. So we're running 6.1 for VirtualBox, and here is the extension pack. So you just click this and you download that. Once it's downloaded, all you have to do is go to your downloads and double click the extension pack, and it will install the extension pack to deal with USB 2.0 and 3.0 problems. So that should fix that. We don't have that issue though, so that's good. All right, so I'll save those settings. Let me just verify that those settings saved. Yep, okay, perfect. And so now if I want to start my machine, I'm just going to click start. And, all right, it looks like VirtualBox is booting up the machine. We've got this here. It's going to boot in 4 seconds. We can just click enter, though, if we want to move right through it to boot into Kali Linux. So we got a nice black screen here, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Ooh, we've got the nice Kali Linux logo here, this splash screen, so that looks nice. I'm hoping that the screen resizes itself, and yep, there it goes. So we've got full screen mode working nicely here. Wonderful. And so it looks like here is Kali, right, by Offensive Security. Our virtual machine seems to be working nicely. We're prompted to enter your username and password. Now you may say like, hey, I didn't set any usernames or passwords. The default username is root, and that's a common Linux username. It's the super user. We'll talk more about that. And for Kali, your default password is Tor, T-O-O-R, or root backwards. So root and Tor. If we enter those in and log in, we should get set right in. Yep, perfect. And here we are. And so just really quickly, if we look through here, we've got a bunch of programs that are pre-installed. The 99% of these programs are going to be beyond the scope of our course, but in future courses we're going to look at things like how to perform password attacks or wireless attacks, and sniffing, and look at some of the tools like MacChanger or Wireshark. Really, the thing that we're going to concern ourselves with primarily is if we come down to, I think it would be under accessories. Nope. If we scroll down to system, we're going to look here at the terminal. And so if I click this, it opens up what is known as the terminal, which is kind of like our command line, where we can type in all of our commands into the terminal and interact with Kali Linux via this prompt rather than our graphical user interface. Another way we can do it, it's kind of pinned right here to our start bar, so we can just click that and it will open it right up. Now, for the rest of these videos, I'm going to be using my laptop. Right now I'm on my desktop. My laptop's an actual Kali Linux laptop, and so it's going to look just a little different because I'm running an older version of Kali on my laptop. But everything that I'm doing on my laptop should transfer over to what you're doing in this current version of Kali in a virtual machine. Before we leave, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to actually type a command here into the terminal. So you should open up a terminal, and the first thing that we want to do is we want to change our root password, right? You probably don't want to keep it as Tor. If it's, the default password, anybody has it, anybody could log into it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to type into the terminal the password command, PASSWD, and then let's put the username root. And so we are prompted for a new password. So I'm going to put a new password in. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and you shouldn't tell anyone else. And it says right here that the password was updated successfully. So let's log out. And so I can log out right here in the top right-hand corner. I can switch users, shut down, etc. I'm going to log out. And so now if I log back in as root, if I enter in Tor, T-O-O-R, and I click log in, it tells me I have the incorrect password, which is good. So that it looks like that change has been made. So now if I enter in my password, you enter in your password, we should be able to get into this system. And we do wonderfully. Perfect. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so now it looks like we've got our working Kali operating. To close out of the virtual machine up at the top, I'm going to click X, and we can power the machine off. And so I will just close the machine right there, and we are all set. I will see you in our next video.